Boker Tov, we are continuing Shira Shirim, Perek Hey, Pasuk Tetvav, second last Pasuk of Perek Hey. Shokav Amud Eshesh, Meyusadim ala nefaz, Mar'ehu kalevanon, Bachur Karazim. So again, this is Bnei Israel talking about the greatness of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And it starts off, Shokav Amud Eshesh, again referring to Kaviyachol in the human body. Shokav, the thighs, the legs are like pillars of marble. Miyusadim alad nefaz, which have a base of sockets of fine gold. Mar'ehu kalevanon, his look is like the Lebanon. Bachur ka'arazim, and he's young, or he's chosen. Asher bacharbanu is chosen like a cedar tree. So what's going on over here? So number one is Shokav is so it's legs, the two legs, the two foundations of Yahadut, of Judaism, is the Pirush over here says, is Torah and Emuna. As the Gemara tells us that there's been many Pesukim of Chachamim trying to, so we know there's the 10 Commandments, we said the 10 is a short version of the 613. So the Gemara goes through many mitzvot that could be all-encompassing, and David HaMelech says there's one mitzvah that is the foundation of everything, which is emunah, believing in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. As it says, tzaddik be'emunato yichyeh. So you have emunah and Torah; those are the two legs of Yahadut. And also, when a person goes into Torah, it's like the Lebanon, it's like the Arazim, it's like a forest of trees. That in a forest, there's so many parts, there's so many trees. There's so many twigs and so many branches, so many leaves, and so many, there's living creatures there. So too, when you go into the Torah, you'll see how many trees there are. I mean, there's so many masechtot, and there's a lot of subjects, and there's a lot of details and leaves, and there's so many things, so many chidushim. So it's like a yam, as we said, which is also an ocean, has so many parts to it. So to a forest, and that is the comparison here to the forest. Also, the Amud Eshesh is also mentioned in Megillat Esther, which we'll be reading soon, which Al-Gila Kesef Amud Eshesh, this was describing Achashverosh's home, his palace, Amud Eshesh there as well. Bachur Ka'arazim is also Mareo Kalevanon, which it was like, in a way, the expression, Bnei Yisrael talking about HaKadosh Baruch Hu, very tall, like a very tall tree. Also, Bachur Ka'arazim is that the cedar tree is the most chosen for its strength from among the other trees. So too, Kaviyachol, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is he chose us and we chose him as well. That's what we say in Amidah at Mincha and Shabbat. Atay echad v'shmicha echad u'mika v'chezko echad ba'aretz. Hashem calls us one nation in the world. We also say, Hashem, you're one. Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem echad. So the Sefer Rokeach over here explains the Shokav, which is the legs, the thighs, are like the Karshei HaMishkan. We're talking these parashiyot about the Mishkan, like the pillars, the wooden beams of the Mishkan. And also he says that this is in reference to the Malachim, as Malachim, Amud Eshesh, they had 6 wings. It's Pasuk, they said they have 6 wings, 2 to fly with, 2 to cover their legs, and 2 to cover their body. So Malachim has 6 wings, this is the Amud Eshesh as well. He explains that Al-Adne Paz, he says, is the gematria of the word al is 100. Ayin is 70, lamed is 30. So this is talking about adnei paz, the adanim in the Mishkan, the sockets in the Mishkan, there was 100 as well. So this is also referring to the Mishkan, and also referring to 100 brachot that a person is supposed to do every day. Al adnei, so adnei is sockets, but adnei is the same letters as Hashem's name, Aleph, Dalet, and Nun and Yud. When you make 100 brachot, you're saying Hashem's name 100 times. Al Adnei, Al is 100, saying Hashem's name 100 times. Mar'eu Kalevanon is the gematria 410, which is the amount of years that the first Beit HaMikdash stood for. And as the Beit HaMikdash is also called the Levanon as well, it's the white one. We explained this before, that a person goes there and his sins go away, he does teshuvah, he becomes white. It's also called the Levanon. And lastly, a connection to the Mishkan is that Shlomo HaMelech, when he built the Beit HaMikdash, the Midrash says the connection to the Mishkan and trees is that he planted trees there. You know, our parents always told us money doesn't grow on trees, but Shlomo HaMelech, he had trees from adnefas, from gold that would yield golden fruits. So I don't know if we can find those trees, but the point of it, and I'm not sure exactly, but he brings down the midrash over here. The connection between gold and trees and the Bet HaMikdash and the Mishkan is that he had certain types of trees there that were yielding golden fruits. Okay, I'm not sure the depth of it. If anyone listens and knows the depth of this midrash, by all means. I've heard of this midrash before, but don't know the depth to it. The Gaon of Vilna over here, he gives a pirush. He says as follows, that again he's continuing historically. So Shokav Amud Shesh is referring to Sefer Bamidbar. When Bnei Israel were traveling, Shokav, so the legs were traveling in the Midbar, and Meyusadim Alad Nefaz, it was the base on a pure gold, which is referring to Sefer Devarim, which is Moshe Rabbeinu. Before he passes away, he's giving the base to Bnei Israel how to act. He's giving them musar, giving them tochecha, how to behave. He's giving them the proper base. Mar'eu kalevanon, they were looked at like white, like Levanon. That's referring to Baalei Teshuvah. Those that do Teshuvah, they have a clean slate. They're white. Bachur ka'arazim, also bachurim that are like arazim, cedar, very strong cedar words, are referring to tzaddikim that never sinned in their life, which are very, 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 very strong. So too, the Gaon of Vilna says, all these pesukim of the description of HaKadosh Baruch Hu was actually talking about from the Kisei Kavod all the way down to this world. And he goes through each explanation in short. So he says, Rosho Ketem Paz, back to the first pasuk, where he talks about pasuk Yud Aleph, or on pasuk Tedvav. Rosho Ketem Paz, the head is referring to Kisei Kavod. Ketem Paz, which is referring to the fine gold, is talking about that it's totally pure. There's no dirt in this gold. Because Baruch Hu is totally pure, totally emet. His Torah is totally emet. Kevutzotav taltalim, which is referring to the hair locks, are curly, which is referring to the Talmidei Chachamim, that are Doresh the Torah Tile Tilim. Taltalim, we said this before, every single detail, that's the Talmidei Chachamim. That's right under the Kisei HaKavod, as the Neshamot of Talmidei Chachamim come from right there under the Kisei HaKavod. Shechorot Ka'orev, what's the black of the Talmidei Chachamim, is that they sweat and work so hard on learning the Torah that they blacken their face, so to speak, from not eating as much, not sleeping as much, blacken their face from the learning of the Torah. Enav keyonim alafi kemayim is referring to the malachim, that there's pesukim that call the malachim Enei Hashem, the eyes of HaKadosh Baruch Hu kaviyachol. Alafi kemayim, over the water, we know en mayim elat Torah. This is referring to people that try to ensure that the Torah is here in this world, and they support Torah. Those are the ones that are ensuring that the water is here. Rochatzot v'chalav, they wash in milk, which is again referring to the Baalei Teshuvah that have a clean slate after doing Teshuvah. Lechayav karugot avos, and we explained the cheeks are like furrows in the field, so that's referring to as well the hairs of the cheek is many and is intertwined, and is referring to the many mitzvot that we have. And this is talking about, so he says like this, that until the cheeks is the mind is the concentration of the neshama, where a person thinks, or a person prays from, until the cheeks. And then we have the physical world, where I'm eating on this world, I'm smelling on this world, and the physical. So you have at the top the machshava, and then matchila adibur. So he says you don't know what's going on in the machshava until a person speaks. And as we saw, sometimes a person, right, like you have one coin in a tzedakah box, makes a lot of noise. Sometimes the guy that speaks, right, but the guy that's quiet maybe has a very full mind. So you're saying that there's the mind, and then there is the speech part, and there's the physical part, and that's where he continues in the Pesukim, Siftotav Shoshanim, that the speech is beautiful, is like flowers, and that shows what's going on in the mind. And then also the smell, notevot moreover, the smell of the, as we said in the pasuk, of the flowers as well, are beautiful smells. And then he continues that these are also in reference to, because he says just like the head is the height, is the kisei kavod, is the concentration of the shalom, and then it goes down. And he says this is also in reference to the malachim, that there's a reference there to the peh and to the nose, to malachim as well. and then it gets into the hands, Yadav Gilul Zahav, and it continues forward. Okay, there's a little bit more on this, but I think we've done enough for today. Let's pause here. We'll continue the end of the Gaon of Vilna because it's still a whole long explanation, and then we'll do the last pasuk tomorrow as well. Baruch Adonai le'olam. Amen ve'amen. U'birchan ne'emer k'sham v'ratzak Kadosh Baruch Hu lezakot et yisrafiach achi ba'adam t'ram so shnei emar Adonai hafetz man tzidko yagdil Torah ve'yadir.